My salvation comes from me. Your salvation comes from you. What's good, fam? We made it to lesson 70 of A Course in Miracles. And I'm sure by now we both understand that the only thing me and you need to be saved from is our worry, doubt, and fearful thoughts that we have made. And we cannot be saved from those except by ourselves because we made them. Nobody else knows what's in our mind up here. Love can be shared. Illusions cannot be shared because they are unreality. They are not real. They cannot, something that is not there cannot be shared. But love is who you are, and you could extend your love, but you can't give your illusions to someone else. You have to save yourself from them. Now, today is a very powerful lesson because we are going to learn how our salvation comes from us, from me and you. Me and you are the means necessary to remove those illusions because, again, we made them. And it is because of our free will that we were able to do so. And let's just say if God were to come in and remove all those illusions for us, that would be disrupting our free will, which cannot be done. Therefore, today we are going to remove all of those fearful thoughts together. Me and you here in each other's presence are going to get to this state of mind together. Now let's go ahead and dive straight in. And again, this is a very powerful lesson, so be prepared to be mind blown. If you got the book, you already know where to go. If you don't got the book yet, the PDF is in the description. Let's go ahead and dive straight in. Lesson 70. My salvation comes from me. All temptation is nothing more than some form of the basic temptation not to believe the idea for today. Salvation seems to come from anywhere except from you. So too does the source of guilt. You see neither guilt nor salvation as in your own mind and nowhere else. When you realize that all guilt is solely an invention of your mind, you also realize that guilt and salvation must be in the same place. In understanding this, you are saved. The seeming cost of accepting today's idea is this. It means that nothing outside of yourself can save you. Nothing outside yourself can give you peace. But it also means that nothing outside yourself can hurt you, disturb your peace, or upset you in any way. Today's idea places you in charge of the universe, where you belong because of what you are. This is not a role that can be partially accepted, and you must surely begin to see that accepting it is salvation. It may not, however, be clear to you why the recognition that guilt is in your own mind entails the realization that salvation is there as well. God would not have put the remedy for the sickness where it cannot help. So beautiful. I hope you really felt that, because we're going to read that one more time. God would not have put the remedy for sickness where it cannot help. The only place that the remedy for sickness can be found is within us, because me and you, as love and light and as extensions of God who were created and given the ability to create like our Creator, we miscreated and made these images in our minds that we're fearful of now. We think that we're not enough. We think that we're lacking. And it's all this false sense of self that we believe we are. We think that we are this body. We think that we are limited. This is who we think we are. And it's only in our mind that those illusions exist, because they are not out there. That world is just a reflection of you, and I'm pretty sure we both get that by now. It's just showing you what you need to be saved from. Now, God would not have put the remedy where it cannot help, meaning the remedy for our salvation is in our mind. It is with us right here and now, and we are being guided on how to consciously use that remedy and free ourselves from the prison that we have made. That is the only thing we need to be saved from, is our own illusions, our own worries or doubts and fears. God would not have put the remedy for sickness where it cannot help. That is why your mind has worked, but hardly His. He wants you to be healed. So, He has kept the source of healing where the need for healing lies, which is your mind. You have tried to do just the opposite, making every attempt, however distorted and fantastic it might be, to separate healing from the sickness for which it was intended, and thus keep the sickness. And again, remember, we're doing this all unconsciously. We're not aware that we're doing this. We are asleep. Whenever a child of God, me and you, or anyone in this world is asleep, they do not know that the ability to wake up is given to them, and it's there, right there. Whenever anybody is sick, the remedy is in their possession, but it's only because they're looking for salvation outside of themselves that they can't find where it really is. Your purpose was to ensure that healing did not occur. God's purpose was to ensure that it did. And remember, we do all this unknowingly, and whenever we're not aware, when we're asleep, we're identifying with the ego. And that ego, that little sense of separation, that little self-image that we have made for ourselves at a very young age, that we think we're this body and we think we're separate and we're not one with or a part of the world. We think that we're in our own little boxed off cage, and we think that we're not enough, so we compare and we buy things to make us feel better, and we look for salvation in material possessions or relationships. That's where we think we're going to find our salvation, and it is not there. And it's only whenever we are identified with the little ego that we look for it out there, because the ego wants to make sure that you stay asleep, because that is its only chance it gets to stay in control. And the ego looks outside of yourself, tricking you, making you think that the answer is out there so you could find it, because you're not going to find it out there. Therefore, you're going to remain sleeping. Therefore, the ego is going to stay in control. And we are concluding that right there. We are going to put an end to that, because we can if we really want to. And if we don't want to, we could go back to living that unaware life and being unconscious and being in fear and thinking that it's real. And I'm pretty sure that because we've made it this far, we don't desire to do that, but just know that that is an option if you really want to. Although, who would want to do that knowing what we know at this point in time? Today, we practice realizing that God's will and ours are really the same in this. God wants us to be healed, and we do not really want to be sick because it makes us unhappy. Therefore, in accepting the idea for today, we are really in agreement with God. He does not want us to be sick. Neither do we. He wants us to be healed. So do we. We are ready for two longer practice periods today, each of which should last some 10 to 15 minutes. We will, however, let you decide when to undertake them. We will follow this practice for a number of lessons, and it would again be well to decide in advance when would be a good time to lay aside for each of them, and then adhering to your own decisions as closely as possible. Basically, when you're deciding to do these lessons today, choose beforehand when you're going to make time in your day to do these lessons, and then adhere to your decision. That is mental toughness. That is being responsible, if you will. That is just having willingness to make this your number one priority. Begin these practice periods by repeating the idea for today, adding a statement signifying your recognition that salvation comes from nothing outside of you. You might put it in this way: my salvation comes from me. It cannot come from anywhere else. Then devote a few minutes with your eyes closed to reviewing some of the external places where you have looked for salvation in the past. This part gets really good. Let's pay attention right here, and let's be aware while the Course is listing out all of these places that we've looked for salvation, let's be aware of, are those still active? Do me and you still look for salvation out there? Salvation, another word for salvation could be, do we look for happiness out there? Because whenever we are saved from our own illusions, of course we're going to be happy. And when we're unhappy, we're going to be looking for happiness somewhere. And most of us don't remember to look within, so we look out there. So if salvation's too strong of a word, think of happiness and joyful. Devote a few minutes with your eyes closed to reviewing some of the external places where you have looked for salvation, where you have looked for happiness, where you have looked for joy in the past, in other people, that's a big one, in possessions, another big one, in various situations and events, another big one, and in self-concepts that you sought to make real. Recognize that it is not there and tell yourself, my salvation cannot come from any of these things. My salvation comes from me and only from me. Now, we will try again to reach the light in you, which is where your salvation is, which is where your joy is, which is where your happiness is, which is where you really are. You cannot find it in the clouds that surround the light, and it is in them you have been looking for it. Remember yesterday's analogy? Me and you are in this bubble, surrounded 360 degrees. We're surrounded by all these clouds, up, down, left, right, diagonal, side to side. Everywhere we look, we're surrounded by the clouds. We're surrounded by the illusions. And although the sun's shining, we're not able to perceive them because of all these clouds that we have made to block our perception of the sun. It is in them that we have been looking for it. It is not there. It is past the clouds and in the light beyond. Remember that you will have to go through the clouds before you can reach the light. But remember also that you have never found anything in the cloud patterns you imagined endured, or that you wanted. Since all illusions of salvation have failed you, surely you do not want to remain in the clouds, looking vainly for idols there, when you could so easily walk on into the light of real salvation. Try to pass the clouds by whatever means appeals to you. If it helps you, think of me holding your hand and leading you, and I assure you, this will be no idle fantasy. For the short and frequent practice periods today, remind yourself that your salvation comes from you, and nothing but your own thoughts can hamper your progress. You are free from all external interference. You are in charge of your salvation. You are in charge of the salvation of the world. Say then, my salvation comes from me. Nothing outside of me can hold me back. Within me is the world's salvation and my own. Beautiful lesson. That is the end of lesson 70, and I'm pretty sure that everything that was said just now is everything that needs to be said for today. This is a very powerful lesson. And remember, any time that you fall asleep, and remember, you know whenever you're asleep when you're not at peace. When you're in the state of mind that we're at right now and you're at peace, you're happy, you're joyful, you're free, this feeling of being at peace is the best way to describe it with words. Peace, happy, joyful, love, whatever it is that you describe this state of mind as, remember, this is your indicator letting you know that you are home. We are home right now because we are allowing ourselves to be the fullness that we could possibly be. We're not in the clouds and nothing's blocking us from perceiving the light, because right now we're in our remembrance that is who and what we are, and that is what we are an extension of, love and light, and that is what everything is. All that is light. We are one with and a part of all that is. We cannot mention that enough times, because the more we do, the more we will remember, and the more whenever we forget, the easier it will be for us to reawaken. Remember, me and you sometimes when we're asleep look for salvation out there. We look for happiness out there. We look for peace out there, whether again it states in people, situations, circumstances, events, places, in material objects, in whatever it may be, and we're not going to find it out there. And if somebody doesn't believe that, they could continue to go look for it out there, and they're never going to find it. And me and you are going to be here for them whenever they're ready to reawaken to the real world and understand that they are the ones who made their own illusions. They are the one who made the need for salvation possible. They are the ones, and me and you are the ones who made the illusions in our head that were fearful, worry, doubt, separation thoughts, and we were the one who made those shackles on our wrists, and we were given the means to release ourselves because no one else could do it, because no one else knows what illusions are going through our mind, because illusions can't be shared, but love can be shared. And me and you today are here. We are being submerged in that love, and we are shining that love outward, and we are reminding ourselves and our loved ones and anyone who crosses paths with us, and even those who we never seem to or will ever meet, we are doing something big, me and you here together in each other's presence. So just know that that is it for today's lesson. We are going to conclude right there. Take some time to do these lessons today, like all of them. And until tomorrow, we will meet here, same time, same place, for lesson 71 of A Course in Miracles.